So, as I've been observing the last decade since the MAGA movement, this whole Nazi regime has escalated, especially let's say the last year, it's gone to extremes since Trump took over again and MAGA has gotten its way. That conservative Christianity has become a disease to America and a threat to human rights. Trump and his supporters have been using the Christian religion as a weapon to demonize anyone who dissents against their cruelty and doesn't have the rich white privilege ideology that they want. And all these conservative Christians in MAGA, they wear their crosses and memorize all these Bible verses and claim that they're great Christians and claim that they're anti-abortion, and then that makes them pro-life. They claim they're pro-life, but when you step back and observe everything, you look at the big picture, then you come to realize that their movement is more anti-life than anything else going on in America right now. So with this MAGA and Christian nationalism, the whole agenda is to demonize anyone who is underprivileged and who doesn't fit into their so-called perfect view of the American establishment. This includes minorities. This includes anyone who is broke or sick, who has had setbacks and is trying to get ahead financially, or anyone who questions the authority of the right-wing establishment. Anyone who questions it or who goes against these establishment norms that we've been raised with and brainwashed about, and who dissents against it, is demonized. And all these conservatives, they feel that rich white people is who this country should be for. It shouldn't be for immigrants. It shouldn't be for anyone else who's trying to get ahead. They want it to just be for rich white people. That's what they envision America to be for. And they feel that they are great Christians and that they have the power to play God and judge anyone who they feel isn't perfect in their view, which is basically anyone who isn't in their ideology of being a rich white straight person who follows all the cruel, immoral laws in this country and conforms and obeys to them, and supports the elites that control this country as they run these big corporations and promote corporate America and corporate corruption. And they have no problem with all of this crap that goes on with the elites because they consider themselves Christians just because they're pro-life. They think being anti-abortion just somehow makes them pro-life. Well, I don't think any of their movement is pro-life. You see, how is supporting a dictator who gives big corporations billions of dollars in subsidies and limits their accountability through bailouts every year? Just take a look at the big oil and big ag companies. All the bailouts and subsidies they get. They basically get subsidized and bailed out so they can contaminate the water your kids drink, the air your kids breathe. And in turn, as a result, look at all the childhood chronic diseases we have. Look at the rates of cancer. Look how sick this nation is due to our corporate polluters and corporations not holding accountability when they mess someone up. And Trump, he worships corporate corruption. That's what he's all about. Just give him a bunch of free handouts and he loves it. And all these stupid Republicans who claim they're Christian still think it's all pro-life. There is nothing pro-life about that. There's nothing pro-life about poisoning your kids and polluting the natural world for the future generations. That is not pro-life whatsoever. How is this tyrant being able to get away with cutting a bunch of healthcare premium tax credits for healthcare plans pro-life? You see, now millions of Americans, including their kids, won't have health insurance or will go bankrupt and lose their ability to build wealth because they're paying super high premiums for horse crap health coverage that is high deductible healthcare plans anyways. And meantime, all the health insurance companies can jack up the premiums, the rates will skyrocket, and they'll make maximized profits, and the pharmaceutical companies can continue to make huge profits, telling people to take a bunch of drugs and vaccines, even if they're injured by them. And it makes us sicker and while not curing any of the diseases we have. They all profit at our expense. Our communist government doesn't even want to subsidize us for these high costs. It's like they're all in cahoots with the big corporations. And there's nothing pro-life about that. Nothing. Someone who is truly pro-life, they would fight for universal health care, or at least a more affordable health care system for everyone. All these developed countries, so many other countries like Canada and Mexico, have a universal health care system. I'm not saying it's great or perfect, but at least they have some kind of health care system that's universal. And, if we're that pro-life and if we're such a great country, wouldn't we have that, start getting a universal health care system together, or at least a more affordable health care system, and a plan to improve the health of Americans so we're not so sick? Wouldn't some kind of a plan like this be more pro-life? But, no, MAGA doesn't want to do that because they call that socialism. But at the same time, they have no problem with socialism for the big corporations that are screwing us over by giving them a bunch of handouts and bailouts. They have no problem with that. But somehow, if everyone had universal or affordable health care, that'd be a step too far, and that'd be communism. That's how stupid these people are. Oh, by the way, and how is separating families of color, people of color, including their kids, and through deportation and throwing them in concentration camps for months on end to live in inhumane and unsanitary living conditions pro-life. And the best excuse these MAGA would say is, well, they're illegal immigrants. We need them here legally. They don't have the legal paperwork, so we're just going to let them rot in concentration camps because of it. That's their punishment. And they still claim they're pro-life and they're Christian. And then they just use that illegal as a reason to do all this crap. So that just basically should be a warning to us that white supremacy is alive and well in America again. So, none of this crap that MAGA supports is pro-life in any way. And those of you conservatives out there that bought into this crap, you're so dumb, you have no brain cells whatsoever. You've been fooled big time. All this Christian nationalism is like modern day crusades for conservatives who have had perfect lives, have built wealth, have been healthy, have had everything go their way with no setbacks. This is a way for them to demonize anyone who doesn't support these cruel laws and government control, and anyone who doesn't fit into their rich white American ideology. And then, instead of blaming our economic issues on government corruption and corporate welfare, they just blame it on illegal immigrants, the black and brown people, to promote their white supremacy. They just blame it on illegal immigrants. That's the best reason they can come up with it. That's how messed up it is. If Jesus Christ was to just take a look at this country and analyze everything that is going on right now, a man who fed the hungry, helped the poor, most importantly, taught compassion to those who are down on their luck, he would be so angry and disgusted to see how cruel our communist government is to so many people and how it lacks so much compassion for the poor and the oppressed. The worst of it is that too many conservative Christians have used their religion as a weapon against the poor and oppressed. And so they can take control and play God. And they feel that they have the right to do it just because they can memorize a bunch of Bible verses and claim that they found Jesus. And then that's their reason for being able to play God and control us. If you want to be a decent Christian and a decent human being and a decent American who cares about this country and the morale of this country, you should be using your faith as an opportunity to lift people up, to help those in need, to love your neighbors, to help increase the morale of this country, and be willing to resist the cruelty and the rise of fascism in this country. That's what you should be doing if you care about practicing your faith and being a good patriotic American. That's all I got.